I'm going to be showing some examples of how we've utilized Google Slides in the classroom, and the biggest takeaway that I found was that the students really just learned through exploring. They had some opportunities to explore the formatting independently, and then they would work on some collaborative projects in which they would learn from each other. And if a student learned how to do something that the other students wanted to know how to do, I would just connect them to the smartboard and they would essentially teach the class how to use that format. So this first example is a geometry slideshow. The students basically created their own geometry dictionaries, and I found this was a good opportunity for them to explore with the different shapes and lines and examples of the different geometry terms. They were also able to use some real-world connections to understand the geometry terms. Another example was something called 5 Rules to the Ride of Your Life. My students created, well, after we read the book The Energy Bus, that talks about basically just instilling good citizenship in students, they got to create the 5 rules that they felt were the most important rules to live by in their life. So they were able to explore with, inserting images, inserting text boxes, playing with different backgrounds, and using the dialogue boxes. And the cool opportunity with this was we actually had a connection to the author. So we were able to share these slideshows with her and have a Skype session in which the students had, a very purposeful audience. And so having that motivation really gave them the drive to do their best on this assignment. Another example was I just found a Jeopardy template that I shared with my students through Google Classroom. We use this for SOL review. Each student partnered up or got in a group of students and they made questions to review the different concepts that we needed to go over for SOL review. So that was one way. This year we have reviewed social studies by using Google Slides, and they essentially are putting the main ideas into their own words and creating some visual representations to help them understand the different concepts. And then they created their own questions to review for the test. So we used this as a whole group activity, and then they were also able to share their different slides with each other and play games that way. And it was a good way to review. We also created Jamestown Comics. We haven't gotten to add the narration piece to it yet, but the students explored the text, but this was similar. They explored the text boxes and adding dialogue and just how to insert the images as well as some different shapes for diagrams. And the last example is an enrichment project that a 6th grade student created on the moon phases and tides. As soon as it pops up. So this slide included some moving animation in which the students reviewed the concepts about the tides. And there's many different ways that you can be using slides to collaborate with other students. This teacher used a carousel activity or a jigsaw in which they shared with other students and they were able to take notes on the different concepts that they read about. So those are just a few examples of how to get started with Google Slides. And again, just exploring is the best form of practice.